I know a lot of people believe that crystals are this magical kind of thing that heals and calms and whatever. Convince me.
First of all, we're in Los Angeles, so we know that crystals have kind of become somewhat woo-woo. They've been co-opted. However, I give credence to the idea that there is a clear bias towards Western medicine, right? We can fund clinical trials to prove its efficacy. That is not always given to Eastern or alternative medicine like crystals. So it's not to say that it's true, it's just maybe untested.
Yeah, and that leaves a gap because you got a lot of these practitioners who I think are onto something, but they're then just selling it, you know, and capitalizing off of it and guessing or completely making it up.
I think that there could be a thing to crystals. Like you could have a crystal around your wrist on a bracelet, and it just reminds you the reason you put it on is because you want to have positive vibes, positive energy.
And I also believe in Eastern medicine. I think you're right about Western medicine. I believe in that. But it feels like the power of suggestion more than it is a placebo effect.
But I mean, there are other things besides crystals. I mean, you look at silver, you look at copper, people put it on their joints.
Saging a place.
Yeah, but they, you know, because there's a magnetic component to it that somehow helps with circulation. You know, so there are things that are not necessarily totally illegitimate. I do think, though, people are capitalizing, and I do think in some instances that placebo effect, that, you know, it's psychosomatic, you think, okay, this is working.
Which can be effective.
And I worry, though, because sometimes people have really bad diseases, and instead of getting the right care, they're going to get some crystals, and they do nothing.
That's a really important point.
I also believe that the crystals that are in place, and especially with the colors, I think they kind of play on color theory a little bit. Red is a very strong color in color theory. When we talk about the clear quartz, which is the master healer, like it being clear, transparent, white things being linked to purity.
So ultimately, there's no scientific evidence that energy is transferred between crystals and people. Matter and energy, like E equals MC squared, are interchangeable, meaning that me touching this should be able to affect me. This piece of paper should be able to affect me. We assign this to crystals because they're pretty. If we found out that centipedes could cure our diseases, would you want to keep that in your pocket?
Wasn't there a lot historically with crystals and different ore having power?
You don't see this like, oh, we laid crystals on them. They were pretty pragmatic in the past. They weren't into a lot of this stuff.
So you know the thing with Kim Kardashian where she got robbed in Paris and they put her in the bathtub and duct taped her and the whole thing?
Sure.
So E.T. talked to her about how she healed.
After my whole Paris situation over a year ago, all my friends would come over and bring me healing crystals. And I thought, wow, this is like, I love having them in my home. I love what they mean, and I actually feel really calm.
Do you feel healed? Do you feel better?
I do.
We need to figure out where she's been investing.
There was something very, very strong that she said. I love how they look aesthetically.
It's less about the physical object, it is about the sentiment. Somebody came and gifted her this and said, I know you went through something, have this as a token of me hoping you heal. That can be enough.
But you know the whole concept of mind over matter.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the crystals are kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
We have to define what a crystal is.
Yeah.
It's a material with an aligned pattern. So that could be anything like a snowflake is a crystal, amethyst is a crystal. Yeah, and so is salt. So if amethyst has healing power, then you might as well just dump a bunch of salt onto your chest and say that it's going to heal my stomach cancer. It's essentially the same, it's the same thing.
Can it amplify it? Because crystals, think about crystal radios, right? They use them because electromagnetic energy resonates through the crystal, and so it amplifies.
There's a reaction that's being triggered
and
here.
They have memory, like water crystals.
That's a reaction being triggered.
Here's my opinion. If it makes you feel better mentally, go for it, but it should never replace modern medicine or Western medicine.
It's not the same as, like, you know, taking an orange and putting it on your body and saying the orange will heal me.
It is the same thing.
Literally the same thing.
It is literally the same thing.